Good morning. We're doing lecture 5.5 today. These are the applications of proportions. There are many problems that can be solved using proportions. What we want to do is look for equivalent rates or ratios and use the steps below. You set up the equivalent rates or ratios, making sure that they are rates that the units on the top and the bottom are the same. Right? That's how we know ratios. Use a variable such as x for the unknown value. Apply your fundamental property of proportions. Remember, that's our basically using up the cross products. Solve for the unknown, and then check the answer for reasonableness. Here's an example. An airplane flies. Okay, first off, I also want you to remember that if you put your variable in the numerator, it makes your math much easier. Okay, so an airplane flies 1,260 miles in 3 hours. How far will it fly in 5 hours? Okay, so we know my 2 hours, so I'm going to put the, there we go. So I have 1260 in 3 hours, x miles in 5 hours. These would be proportional ratios. Now I just do my cross products. We see that right here. We're going to do our cross products. Okay, so I have 3x equals 5 times 1260. And we get 6,300. Now we're going to have to divide that by the 3, which is the coefficient of the x. Divide 3. I get 2,100. So x is 2,100 miles is my answer. All right, in the first 4 games of the season, a football team scores a total of 60 points. At this rate, how many points will the team score in 11 games? So I have 60 points for 4 games. How many points for 11 games? All right, 4x equals 660. Okay, now I divide both sides by the coefficient of the x, and let's see, 660 divided by 4 is 165. All right. Of every 17 parts, whoops, we'll just, oh wait, that was points. You always want to put, on a word problem, you always want to put your units on it. Okay. Of every 17 parts manufactured by a certain machine, only 1 will be defective. How many parts were manufactured by the machine if 8 defective parts were found? Okay, so we're looking for number of parts, so 17 parts per 1 defective, and that is x per 8 defective. All right, we're going to cross multiply. That leaves us with just an x. Isn't that nice? And 8 times 17, which is 136 parts. All right. The scale on a map is drawn so that 4.5 inches corresponds to an actual distance of 250. If 2 cities are 7.25 inches apart on the map, how many miles? So the miles, that's what we're looking for. So we have 250 miles per 4.5 inches. X number of miles for 7.25 inches. All right, we're going to cross multiply or cross product, and we've got 4.5x equals 250 times 7.25. And we get 1812.5. Divide by our coefficient, which is 4.5, and we get in miles apart 402. This rounds up to 403 miles. Okay. If 100 grams of ice cream contains 13 grams of fat, how much fat is in 250 grams of ice cream? Well, I have 13 grams of fat in 100 grams. How many do I have in 250 grams? Well, we're going to cross multiply. Cross product equals 13 times 250. Well, it's going to be 3,250, I think. Yeah, 3,250. If we divide by 100, remember dividing by any multiple of 10 is easy. So we have 1, 2. So x is 32.5 of what? Fat. Grams of fat. G of fat. All right. One more set. A family plans to drive their car during their annual vacation. The car can go 350 miles on a tank of gas, which is 18 gallons. The vacation they planned will cover 1,785 miles. How many gallons of gas will it take? Well, since they gave us gallons and they gave us both gallons and tanks, right? 350 per tank. But they want gallons, so we're going to use that instead. So we have 3 gallons. So we have 8. What is going on? Why have I lost my... I'm still getting that pen. Okay, let's figure... Why have I lost my pen's function? Well, I do have another thing, so we'll see if this works. Not as well. 18 over 350. And that's how many gallons will take the 1785. So we multiply 350x is equal to 18 times 1785, and I get 32130. Now I'm going to divide both sides by my coefficient, and that isolates our x. Okay, so we're dividing it by 350, and I get 91.8. So it's going to take 91.8 gallons. All right. If I have 125 grams of peas and they contain 26 grams of carbohydrates, how many grams of carbohydrates does 371 grams? So we're putting our carbohydrates on top. 26 grams of carbohydrate for 125 grams of peas is X carbohydrates for 375. So we have 125X equals 26 times 375. $9,750. We're going to divide by the coefficient, and x is going to equal 78 grams carbohydrate. G of C. And that's my answer. All right, now we're done with this lecture, and we only have one more for this chapter.